Welcome to World Travel Made Easy with Itinerary Boss, the podcast for busy professionals, entrepreneurs, and business owners who want to travel smarter, save money, and plan unforgettable trips without the stress. I'm Ross, your host and the founder of Itinerary Boss. I spent a decade building a career in healthcare, software, and medical device sales while planning both personal and business trips across more than 20 countries. Whether it was group getaways with friends, couples trips, or just mapping out business territories, I became the go-to person for saving money on flights, organizing those logistics, and using points to elevate the experience. Now, as an entrepreneur and business owner, I help others do the same by showing you how to travel better using points, smart planning, and those proven strategies. Each week, we bring you expert guests, step-by-step tutorials on points and miles, and real-world itineraries that we've used to help you plan with confidence. Whether it's using points to travel better, exploring a new destination, or just learning how to maximize your spending, we've got you covered. Before we dive in, go ahead and grab one of our free tools in the show notes. One, the points and miles cheat sheet that'll help you get started earning and redeeming points to save thousands on travel, or the stress-free travel toolkit that includes a budget guide, packing checklist, and planning tips to save you time and hassle. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or busy professional looking to choose your next credit card or get help maximizing your everyday spending for rewards and booking free travel, book a free one-on-one consultation. You can find the link within the show notes or head over to itineraryboss.com. And if this episode helps you, please share it with a friend or family member, follow the show, and leave a 5-star review. It's the best way that helps us grow. Now, let's get into today's episode. Welcome back to another episode of World Travel Made Easy with Itinerary Boss. I'm excited for this week's destination deep dive, where we're going to talk through Prague and Budapest. If you're a first-time listener, welcome to the show. Each week, we outline destination-specific places. We have expert interviews, as well as we go into solo tutorials of points and miles and credit card rewards. So excited to have you here. But today we want to go into Prague and Budapest because I got the chance to go there back in 2019 with a group of friends. And a lot of times when people are asking, hey, where's the best place for me to start in Europe? A lot of the times they are looking into Western Europe. And then once they've, conquered a lot of those places, a lot of the times they also just want to go to Prague, Budapest, to Croatia. So if you're interested in those destinations, you're in the right place. If you want to check out other places like Croatia that we actually paired along with this trip, go check out that episode. That was a few weeks ago, but excited to have you here. And today we're really going to dive into, how do you get to Prague and Budapest on points and miles? What are some direct flights from the US? Are there some stopover specific strategies, as well as once you're there, just what are some simple things to do that we did? What are some places that you can stay at, whether that's locations, on points, or just where we stayed for a group. So excited to dive in. So first, getting there, I think that's the most important part, right? When I flew out, we flew from Dulles and actually had to have a layover in London. So if you are flying from the US, there are some direct flights from places like Chicago, New York, and LA to Prague or Budapest. Different transfer partners are your Star Alliance partners like Avianca Life Miles. You also have Aeroplan, then you have United Mileage Plus, Delta Sky Miles, and Virgin Atlantic. So if you are in points and miles, which you most likely are if you're listening to this podcast, make sure you check those out. If you're okay with any sort of stopover or the connection, you also can look at flightconnections.com. And that's a great place if you're trying to go somewhere that isn't as easily accessible as what you're doing from your home airport. That's always a good place to check out. So you could look into if you wanted to get to London, Amsterdam, Paris, those easier accessible places, you could look at how to pay for getting from your home airport to those with points. And then from there, either doing a stopover, which on Aeroplan, a lot of the times that's 5,000 additional points, or you could just get a direct flight there, spend a day or two there, and then get a direct flight from those airports, using cash or points. So those are some options. So Aeroplan, Tap Portugal, as well as ANA all have those stopover plans. But when we went, we initially started in Prague. So when we first got there, we actually stayed in Old Town, which is easy to walk around. That's where I recommend you stay if you're a first timer. If you're looking to stay on points, you can also, the places that you could stay at would be the Marriott Prague, the Hilton Prague Old Town, as well as the Renaissance Prague Hotel. So those are a couple points hotels that a lot of people talk about and that are pretty central to the area. But when you do get there, it's going to be pretty simple. You'll do an old town stroll. A couple places that you're going to want to hit are the astronomical clock in Old Town Square, as well as, that's a good first day because when you get there, you're going to be tired. So getting checked in, just walking around, not having anything, in case there's any sort of delays, and that just makes it simple so you can walk around. But my suggestion would also be, going into uh, there's the Absinthe Bar, there's Black Angel's Bar, which is great. But my suggestion would be start out with a rooftop dinner at the Hotel U Prince, which overlooks Old Town. It has a great uh, just view of the clock, as well as just everything. So it's right in that center area. And then from there, you can go down to the Black Angels Bar, which is in the basement of the Hotel U Prince. There's also the James Dean Bar. So checking out those and keeping it simple. If you want to pop over, just depending on how tired you are, you can do the Absinthe Bar. Always ask for the Swiss or French versions, but you can also pair that with one of your next days. So the next morning, depending on how tired you are, if you want to get up early, you could do a sunrise walk across Charles Bridge. That has amazing views and it's less crowded. Or you could just wait and, start that when you get up. From there, you can, go to St. Nicholas Church. There's also the Prague Castle tour, which all these are, walkable, or you can take an Uber, or if you're trying, or if you want to find other ways, that's totally fine. But, that's how we really got around was walking. I suggest going to the Strahov Brewery and grabbing some bigger beers. They have like the German Oktoberfest size beers, and that has some amazing panoramic city views. And then there's also the Letna Zarada, which also has some beer garden vibes. So those are some two really good ones. Is that Strahov Brewery as well as the Letna Zarada. If you want to just go get beers, relax. But for that, the Prague Castle Tour, St. Nicholas Church, the Linen Wall are all really good places. And that's how, you can maximize 2 to 3 days there. And then from there, it's a quick flight to Budapest.
Hey, I wanted to take a quick break to say thank you so much for tuning into the show. The only way the show grows is through listeners like you helping us share it. So if you're enjoying the show, it'd mean the world to me if you hit that 5-star rating, shared it with a friend or family member who's ready to travel more, save money, or just needs a little bit more inspiration and that nudge. And if you're posting about it on Instagram, go ahead and tag Itinerary Boss, and we'll make sure to reshare it and shout you out for giving us a shout out. Thanks so much for the support. It truly means a lot. And now back with the
To
show.
Budapest. So I recommend going to Prague first. That's going to be easier to navigate. What we did is we did Prague, Budapest, Croatia. So if you want to, mix in a couple cities, that's a good way to start more on the west, move over, then go to Croatia. There's better flight options that way. But when you get to Budapest, there's a couple things that are, best areas to stay, which you have the Castle District, as well as the Pest City Center. So being able to stay in those is really good, like because you can walk everywhere, similar to Prague and really any city you're going to. But a couple points hotels would be the Intercontinental Budapest, as well as the Marriott Budapest. Both those are going to be very central. If you want to check out other Hilton properties, we recommend using Gondola AI, and then it can really map out, where you want to stay, how many points. So whether that's Hyatt, IHG, Marriott, Hilton, check that out, and that can give you a better just understanding of, hey, what's the lay of the land? Where do I want to stay? How many points do I have? Where's my loyalty, and how and all of that. So it's going to be a personal basis, but those are just a few that from a central standpoint, we recommend and we've heard great things about. A couple must-see attractions that we did were we started out with the Hungarian Parliament building, and a lot of these too, either you can just before we get into some of these, you can buy tickets prior and go inside, or if you just want to walk around and see stuff, you can also do that. So you have the Hungarian Parliament building. You also have the Central Market Hall. We did the Girl Baths, which was like a Sparty bath party. Honestly, we didn't really like it that much. It's kind of a sausage fest. And then you have there's a couple other things like Chain Bridge, Hero Square, and then you also have Castle Hill that has panoramic views over the river. And then if you wanted to top it off with an evening river cruise, you could do that. So those are a couple things I would recommend. I mean, we were there 3 days, so splitting those up and just depending on where you're staying at, right? Typing those into Google Maps, and being able to figure out, okay, what works best for us. How much do we want to spend time doing? For us, we kind of packed things into the first 2 days and then just had a chill day. So it just depends on your personal preference. But again, the top things that we did were the Hungarian Parliament building, Central Market Hall. Definitely do a bath, but I wouldn't do the Sparty bath party. There's the Fisherman's Bastine, the Chain Bridge, Hero Square, climbing up Castle Hill that has panoramic views. That is a pretty steep climb, just as an FYI. So, I would take that into consideration. And then if you wanted to do something just more chill, you could either do the walk along the river where there's a bunch of different restaurants, bars you can go into. The weather's great, so they have like live music and stuff. Or if you wanted to do more of a intimate experience, there's different types of cruises. There's going to be, your group cruises, or if you want to do like an evening sunset cruise with your significant other or couples, that's another good option. And you can find those all on Get Your Guide, Viator. So those are good options. And then just from eating out, a couple places that we did and then others have recommended just on the Buda side, which is the Castle District. You have Perriott, which is going to be fine dining. There's 21 restaurant, and then you have the Pest Buda restaurant. And then if you go to the Pest side, you have a wine kitchen, which is and I'm going to probably butcher this, but it's the Borkanya wine kitchen, which you're going to get, they have wine, and then they're going to have modern Hungarian cuisine, which definitely try that. We did, and I absolutely loved it. And then if you want good coffee and pastries, you have Cafe Gerbad, and that's spelled Gerbeaud. If you're wanting to go to, if your vibe is nightlife, if you like to go out to clubs, places that we went to were Tutu Instant and Akvarium, which, would I go there now? Probably 6, 7 years later, probably not. But there's a couple other rooftop bars that have good city views, which are Sky Bar and 360 Bar. So check those out. That's how it's pretty simple. Both were really walkable. If you want to get around to different, locations, you can always Uber. But my suggestion again is find something that's central. Use Gondola AI to find those, and then from there, just map out those different ones that, I just mentioned. And, if you're like, oh, I need to write all this down, you need to go back and listen. A tip or trick that you could use if you're listening on YouTube, you could go to the transcription at the bottom, just hit more info, and then copy paste that. And then you could, put it into ChatGPT and say, hey, please list out these things, and create an itinerary for me based on where you're staying. If you use another tip or trick, if you use the Plus or Teams version, you could also have your agent go in and plan this out for you with agent mode. So that's a beautiful way to save time. I wish I had that back in the day. And it'll go through different blogs, different things like that. So just a great resource. We'll also have some blog posts coming out about this. So check if you like to read, you can check that out. And we have our newsletter as well that'll outline this. But if you are looking to use transfer partners, a couple places that go over there that fly from the US, you have Aeroplan and Virgin Atlantic, which, if you have membership rewards, Ultimate Rewards, Capital One, you could, or Citi, all the major banks transfer to Aeroplan. If you have Ultimate Rewards, you could look for options on United, Turkish, Air France, KLM, and also you could look at with Citi Thank You Points and others, you could look at Turkish and Singapore Airlines. And then you could if you're booking hotels, right, depending on when you're going, if you're going in the summer when it's high season, make sure you're planning those out. But again, just depending on where you're flying from, if you can't get there and you want to use points to fly business, make sure you're checking out flightconnections.com and just putting in the city you want to go to and see where it flies direct from, as well as your city. But that would be our recommendation. And if you are a business owner who spends more than $10,000 a month on your credit cards, reach out to us. We're happy to work with you on a point strategy, answer any questions you have, and help you travel and use that money that you're already spending to help you travel personally. So appreciate everyone tuning in. If you like the episode, make sure you give us a follow, subscribe. If you think there's a friend or family member who likes to travel, wants to learn more about points miles, or wants to go to Prague or Budapest, make sure you share this episode with them, and make sure you give us a 5-star review. That's how we help grow the show, reach more people who are trying to travel. And we will see you next week. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in.